Hello, everyone, and happy December. It's great to see you all for what's going to be a holiday special of the leading female exec panel. If this is your first time joining us, hello and welcome. Each month I meet with a group of fantastic female executives to chat about the hottest topics in data and analytics. This month is a holiday special where we're wrapping up things for 2022 and hopefully, if we have time, looking ahead to 2023 of what's hot and what is coming ahead of us. The comments are wide open, so hello to everyone joining us. Please do get your thoughts, comments, questions in as soon as you can. If I see them, I will call them out to our panel. But without further ado, we have some rather festive looking guests for you today, and I'll bring them up on stage. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Goodness me, going down through so many. And there we go. Hi, everyone. Happy December. Great to see you all. We've got a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to do it, as always. So I think a quick round of introductions, because we have some new faces joining the panel for the very first time, and some old faces. Some people who've been around for a while, but why not do an intro and refresh us? Maritza, great to see you. Do you want to give us an intro?
Hello, everyone. I'm Maritza. I'm the head of data at BNP Paribas Personal Finance South Africa. We are known here as RCS Group.
Thank you, Maritza. Fantastic antlers there. Love it. Amy, great to see you. If you wouldn't mind giving us an intro.
Great to see you as well, Catherine. I'm Amy Gershkoff Bolles. I head up Global Digital and Emerging Technology Strategy for Levi Strauss & Company. Great to be here, everyone, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Amy. Beza, as always, a treat. An intro, please.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Beza Boughton. I'm the Chief Data Analytics for Family Services. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Beza. And our resident elf, Ines, great to see you.
Hi, guys. My name is Ines Ashton. I'm a Director of Advanced Analytics at Mars, and now specifically I focus on pet care within the Mars ecosystems.
Thank you so much, Ines. And my fellow Santa hat wearing, although I think, Richa, is yours sparkly? Is that a sparkly hat?
Yes, it is.
Way better. You're not meant to upstage the host, Richa. Come on.
No one can upstage you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. My name is Richa. I'm an engineering leader, and I specialize in data and analytics in management space. Glad to be here. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you so much. Morgan, great to see you. An intro, please. Oh, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties, but that is how you know we are live. So I'll wait for Morgan to rejoin us in a moment. And then for the very first time, a huge welcome to Kareen. Kareen, welcome. If you wouldn't mind giving us an intro.
Yeah, of course, I'm delighted. So hello, everyone. Delighted to join this brilliant group of talented women. I'm Kareen Sarafati. I'm the Chief Data Officer at the Economist Group in London, and I look after all of our customer and user data and insights to drive business value and growth.
Thank you, Kareen. It's wonderful to have you joining us. So, as I mentioned at the start, we are wrapping up the year, and what a year it has been. And I know each of you have joined us at in-person events, you've joined us at virtual events, you've been getting back into the swing of things in this, what is now, I think, a post-pandemic era for us all. So the hardest question I'm going to ask you today is, what's been the highlights for you of this year? What are some of the key takeaways that you've had? And you can answer that professionally, personally, everything in the mix. I don't mind. Let's go with Amy. Start us off.
All right. Well, I think 2022, I think the headline from 2022, not as it relates to data and analytics, but just more generally, was really a year about resilience. If you think back over the last year, just as humans on Earth, right? We had the beginning and continuation of the war in Ukraine. We've had the rise and fall of energy prices, rise and fall of COVID cases. We've had a rise and fall economically as the markets and inflation have vacillated during the course of the year. And this was really the first full year for many people all over the world of hybrid work. And so I think there's been a lot that we all have had to do to think about the best way to optimize in a hybrid work environment. And one of the things that I heard recently that really resonated with me is that hybrid work, really provides both opportunities for flexibility that many of us have really enjoyed the opportunity to take advantage of and feel very fortunate to be able to take advantage of. Where hybrid work also presents some challenges. There's an extra cognitive load in the morning when we wake up. Is today are we going into the office? Are we not? Are we commuting? Are we not? Are we wearing dress pants or pajama pants? There's a lot of sort of extra logistics to think about in this new hybrid work environment. When I get into the office, will my team also be in the office, or are they working remotely today? And so I think as we look back over 2022, it's really been a year of resilience, of trying to weather some different challenging storms in the world, whether that's COVID cases or macroeconomic storms, figure out hybrid work and what the new normal looks like. And so I'm really excited for 2023 when hopefully the dust will have settled on at least some of these ups and downs as we get into the groove of the new normal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been such an interesting one from my perspective of when you're chatting to people about what events they might be attending, or they say, oh, I'm not really in the city much anymore because I'm working from home, or there's certain days that they are. It's really interesting as well how it's impacting recruitment, and how some people are now solely looking for remote-based jobs because they've loved it so much, or they've gone the other way and thought, I absolutely do not want to work in my house anymore. I need to be in an office. And that's really, really very interesting, and certainly a bit of a conundrum for leaders and HR alike. Thank you, Amy. Ines, how about you? What's the real big highlight for you for 2022?
Yeah, we've had the same issues, I guess. Realizing that I think that business as usual has gone away altogether, because if it won't be one thing, it'll be the next thing. We definitely at Mars had the whole pricing increases. Inflation has really hit us quite hard. Analytics was at the center of that, and we had to be very responsive. So it's been quite interesting to see how analytics can help in those predicaments where maybe in the past, we didn't have those to rely on or couldn't turn them around quickly enough. So we have had analytics at the center this year. For us this year has also been, from analytics journey, has been a lot about thinking about a product mindset, thinking about long term. We at Mars used to be doing a lot of innovation, and we used to be doing it very quickly in order to kind of move the needle. But now we're reaching more kind of a stable state. So we've moved a lot to, as I said, the product mindset this year, and then we want to take that to the next level within the analytics space.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Ines there, analytics become a center. I think for many, data has been a huge part of the conversation, but analytics now, many organizations are really embracing and able to actually do analytics because the data piece is slowly and surely maturing for sure. And just like that, I love when I zoom back out onto it, we've got extra leaders which are popping in and out. I think we're having some bit of tech challenges behind the scenes, but Ishita, it's great to see you. If you wouldn't mind giving us an intro and then just dive straight into the opening question of what's your highlight for 2022?
Thanks, Catherine. And I am one of the people difficulties connecting. So if my voice disappears in the middle of what I'm saying, it's technology, it's not me. I am Ishita Majumdar. I'm joining this after a long, long time. And so glad that I could join, I could make time. I am the VP of Data Analytics Platform at eBay, which translated to English means my team and I are responsible for behavior data on ebay.com, all the way from ingest to insights. So that's a big responsibility. And I was listening to the other speakers, and I completely agree with the macro highlights. Everybody in this world will agree we have to means. What is the impact of the Great Resignation? What is a huge impact of the layoffs that are going on in the Valley? We are struggling to make sense of that. eBay is one of the places who are hiring still. And I cannot have come my way the last few months, actually, for a reference or for an opportunity. And I feel grateful that I am in a place where I could give back in terms of anything, actually. But if I put on my data hat, the one thing I struggled in 2022, which will continue in 2023, is I want to make sure that I can transform the data organization from being thought of as a cost center to a revenue generator. Because most people think of, oh, she leads the data organization, we're going to get the analytics for products and for customers and for retail and financial. All that is true. But nobody says data enabled in gross merchandising volume, Y% increase in revenue. Data directly influence that. I haven't seen that perception. When I do the math and give the numbers, they nod their heads. But I'll give you an example. One of my customers, who's a search team, they have, say, 2 billion gross merchandising volume as a goal. And my ask is, you cannot reach the goal without data, because data is enabling you to reach that goal. So what percentage of that 2 billion gross merchandising volume can data take credit for? And there's no easy answer. So this year I used words like data influences and data enables and data supports. And next year I want to use the direct words, like data absolutely was responsible, directly responsible for these business metrics increase. So I have given a lot of thought this year about it. Next year, I am running all the data initiatives with shared goals from my customers. That you have a goal of GMV, I'll share it with you. You have a goal of customer conversion, I'll share it with you, and we'll see how it goes. But that's my main focus area now, to change the perception of data across the company.
And a really hard task as well. And I just knew you would be humble and give an answer that focuses on your work and your team, because that's just who you are, Ishita. But I'm going to embarrass you now by making sure that everyone is widely aware that actually for our first ever North American Business of Data Awards, in which we received over 100 nominations for each category, you were actually the winner of our Data Culture Leader award for enterprise-wide. And not only that, you were the highest scored amongst all the judges, so you also claimed best of the best. Now, if that's not a highlight for 2022 and speaks to your work, I don't know what is.
And first of all, I'm very grateful. And you're right, it doesn't come to me when you ask me about the highlight. It is, and I don't know if it's a woman thing or not. I should work on it. But it did not come to me as you were talking. How can I enable and make data a first-class citizen? I have to work on how can I make myself a first-class citizen first. So that's another action item for me. But very grateful for having won 2 awards, thanks to your leadership, Catherine. I wouldn't even have known about CDAO without you. Very honored and very grateful.
No, it's good fun. It's good fun. Certainly one of my highlights for sure. Let's keep it going. Karine, for you, 2022 is certainly a busy one. What were the highlights for you in the data space?
Yeah, for sure. Very busy year. I mean, the first highlight when I was thinking about this is actually similar to Amy around hybrid work. And really one of the big personal highlights was to meet my team for the first time in real life last spring, which was quite brilliant because I had hired a lot of them remotely and we're a global team. So that obviously was a big trend for 2022. The other 2 things for me, one was obviously there was a pretty intense news cycle across lots of different big events, so including obviously the war in Ukraine was the biggest one. So it was obviously both a really big event geopolitically and in terms of the impact on energy and inflation and all of that. but also obviously a big news event. And at The Economist, one of the things that we've really pushed this year, based on those big swings that we saw in our audiences around the news, is to really start to really dig into the engagement of our subscribers and how we really drive retention by engaging them in the right ways. And we've had, tremendous success there in terms of expanding the different ways that we engage with our audiences, and that's really driven value for them and for us then in return. We've also invested a lot in NLP to really help us understand like what content really resonated with whom and in what circumstances. So I think that's been really exciting from where I sit. And then there's a trend that I think is common to all, and I'll stop at 3, which is to me 2022 was also the year where the privacy trends really came to hit everyone in very real life. I feel like for the awareness and understanding of those questions and the need for the first party data strategy have been around for a long time, but I think this year, to me, with iOS 14, and then we've seen how Facebook also started to really lose signal, and the effectiveness of that channel really changed, and we had to really completely adapt what we were doing there. To me, has been a really, really big thing this year. So, for us, it's translated into review of how we optimize our channels, but also heightened focus on known users and trends that have been around for a while. But I think it's really come to become a lot more obvious to everyone, which then brings a lot more momentum behind those trends.
Some really, really cool stuff going on at The Economist, clearly, and I very much agree with the privacy point as well. I think it's always been kind of bubbling under the surface. It's just something that's going on, but this year it does really seem to have just kind of come up a level, and everyone's actively talking about it. And overhearing networking sessions, people were having this conversation both in a formal setting of on stage, but then outside of that, they're wanting to chat about it and hear how people are navigating that environment. Thank you. Dee, probably the hardest person working to get onto this live stream. I'm glad that you've dialed in today. Could you give us an intro, and then what has been your highlight of 2022?
Sure. Hi, so Dee Samra from Liberty Global. Yeah, sorry about the issues with my laptop. So I'm on my mobile, which isn't the best. So I'm hoping you can hear me okay. 22, I think similar for us, similar to others. Our focus this year, working, getting more people into the office, being in the office more as well, and actually just being to India to meet my offshore team for the first time after 3.5 years. Towards the winter in 2019, so hadn't had a chance to go meet them, so that was fantastic. Engendering that sense of team with them being disparate over all across. We've got people in the Netherlands, people in London office, so that DWP challenge still is clearly. And then, but from a organizational point of view, TLG, like I've mentioned in the past, we're sitting at the center. We have various opcos across, but equally our venture portfolio has massively increased. We've got over 75 and funds and things that we're sort of dabbling in, and that brings diversity in terms of our landscape and the things that we're supporting, but obviously the wealth of the data that comes in. So this year for sure I'm seeing that intensify, that focus on how do we leverage the data in and all of the different avenues by which we're gathering that data, and privacy has really ramped up as well. So it's kind of trying to keep that balance all the time. Driving data excellence, quality and governance up into a hybrid platform. So we've gone multi-cloud as an organization, so that's driven more complexity in terms of having also now capturing that up in the cloud too, and supporting and underpinning all of the regulations has been a really big project for us this going into next year. That'll continue.
Well, so you've only been a little bit busy then, not just kind of standard. What a fantastic year, Dee. It sounds like you've been up to so much, and I'm so glad that you were able to get out to India and meet that team as well. I know nothing can quite beat in-person experiences. So really, really awesome. Beza, you've had some time to think about your response here. I'm excited to hear about your highlights for 2022.
So I think for us is that, now the prominence of data has been incorporated in its practice. I think for us, and I know my colleague echoed, what is the component of data and ethics? I think those are the two things that I see moving from 2022. Not pretty much, most of the field of analytics has been established, it's maturing. I think those are sort of what's coming, and we'll see that AI maturing as well, that the ethics component is very important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've seen the recent launch of the AI chat, which I know many of us have been playing around with and seeing that. And the thing I even posted about it on my own LinkedIn today, the debate around these AI generated images at the moment. And I think if it's all kicking off in the outside data space, I can only imagine what it's like for you and your teams at the moment, because leaders will be coming to you saying, hey, are we doing this XYZ and applying it in that way? So certainly agree with the AI trend becoming even more prevalent for many of us. Richa, what's been going on with you?
Yeah, I'll touch on two fronts, one professional, one personal. So professionally, what I feel is like data analytics definitely is gaining a lot more traction, and people are wanting to do it, push it into production, integrate with business applications. But there is no one size fits all. There is no one solution. So being in the MLOps space, being in machine learning engineering space, I know it's a very, very difficult challenge for the platform teams, for the machine learning engineering teams, etc., to do justice to various use cases. So the teams have been very involved in understanding different sorts of tools and technologies and bringing it all together. So it is going to be an uphill battle until we get to a state of maturity around data and analytics, and also the tools that support the operational side of it. The other thing which I'm going to say is I've been hearing around, everyone's talking around resilience, but another theme that stands out to me is change. That this year has also been a constant year of change where things are unprecedented. It's really hard to understand just by reading Wall Street Journal or podcasts, etc. What's next? What's to expected? So I've also learned this year to be okay to sit in a passenger seat and let go and go with the flow. So it's extremely important. And along the lines of change, one thing I've also realized is it's very, very important to take risks, to be able to embrace change, because once you start to take risks and you step outside of your comfort zone, you realize things about yourself that you've never realized before. And that's very critical. What sort of a job you're interested in? What culture matters to you? What sort of team do you value? What is your long-term goal? These are very important questions that you have to sometimes step back. And I was very fortunate enough to take a decision that led me to asking these questions myself. And last but not the least, one of the outstanding things which I would say and leave you with is the power of our network, the power of people that we work with. It's extremely important to invest in that. And specifically for someone like me in Women in Tech, and much as yourself here in the panel, is it can be a very isolating job for women in tech. So it is extremely important for us to realize that, to be able to help others down the pipeline, to stay strong and connected, because the work has just begun. There's a long road ahead for us to make it a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more accepting of who we are as people in our lives as well. So that's what I would say, Catherine.
Oh, Richa, I love that. And the pop-up did just come up on the site here as well. Do connect with all the speakers on the panel if you're in the audience, because just as Richa said there, the power of a strong network, even if it's just a case of having these fantastic people in your network, liking your posts and just kind of supporting you in the background, it really does make a difference going forward. So thank you, Richa. And then last but certainly not least, Maritza, what has been your highlight for 2023?
So for me, the highlight was to see that the global data and analytics community that really started to gain momentum towards the end of 2020 and in 2021 continued this year. And it was amazing to actually meet people in person, because we had in-person conferences for the first time this year. And also the diversity of this community. We are seeing a lot of amazing female data leaders that's taking charge of a lot of the communities, and that's absolutely great to see. And I think it's going to continue to gain momentum. And then I'm still kind of sticking to momentum, sorry, not momentum, but communities, is building the analytics community in our organization. And it's really just going from strength to strength. And that's great to see. And together with that, sort of opening up data analytics careers for people. So seconding people into our data office and internships, and just seeing, these young people flourish and just do so well. And it's amazing to see how, these will be our data leaders of the future. And we're part of that. We're part of building that. And I think that's really important, because one of the trends I think we're going to see continue in 2023 is the mobility of data and analytics talent. So I think it's becoming really important to have not only a data culture, but an organizational culture that's conducive to building communities and making people feel that they're part of something.
Absolutely, a flurry of celebratory and thumbs up when Maritza. So I think everyone in the audience agrees with that for sure. It's really exciting, actually, isn't it? When you spot someone that's kind of up and coming, and then you just kind of watch their trajectory. It's really satisfying. And I also agree with the sentiment behind the in-person events. I think you and I had almost to the point where it was a bit creepy how long our hug was when we saw each other in person in Tecton earlier this year, to the point where people were like, are they okay? It was just so nice to see you in person.
It was amazing, and to get a selfie with you, of course.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
What can I say? And lots of exciting events to come, obviously, in 2023. Now, we are running out of time. In fact, we have 2 minutes left, which is on tradition for this panel, for us to cover so much in such a short amount of time. So, 2023, I'm going to go around, and this is an incredibly hard ask, I'm not sure I could do it myself. What one word do you think is going to embody your 2023? What is the way you could summarize it? So, Dee, what word would you put for your 2023?
I'm going to say inclusion. Inclusion both from a yes we're I, but actually inclusion from a data literacy and culture point of view as well. So yes, include diversity and whatever in people who are part of our journey, but as an organization. So seeing people face to face and all of that good stuff.
Amazing. Thank you, Dee, for joining us. Ishita, what one word for 2023?
I'm going to again go for technology, because I'm so excited after ChatGPT. I'm playing around with ChatGPT all the time. I introduced it to my daughter. She's doing her Spanish homework with that, so I wouldn't advise that. But I think generative AI, that's what I'm most excited about in 2023.
Karine?
I'll say sustainability. I think finding ways to make our hybrid work sustainable. For us, that the economy is maturing what we've built, and then more literally, I think for us it's going to be really the year that we start to integrate our sustainability strategy and our data strategy. And I think there's a pretty big role for our teams to play in that.
For sure. Beza, one word.
I agree with new growth.
Fantastic. Thank you. Inez?
For me, it will be cognitive supply chain and resilience. There's a resilient supply chain. So when the next thing happens, we can respond.
And there will be something, that's for sure. Richa?
Yeah, I would say continued maturity around data and analytics space, and truly people understanding what it really means, an end-to-end life cycle of MLOps, and making it as a practice in part of their existing pipelines.
Amazing. Amy?
I'm going to say innovation, because I think whoever earlier said we're going to have more change coming down the pike in every aspect of our personal and professional lives. I think that's absolutely right. And so innovation is going to be the key to resiliency in an era of continuous change.
And last but certainly not least, Maritza.
Data value, data ROI. And that's one answer to Pellin's question on what's different post-COVID is far more focus on actually showing ROI and value to our data for our data investments.
Amazing. Well, thank you all for joining me for the final panel of 2022.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Okay, so there we go. That is us all wrapped up for the leading female executive. Now you can access all of these on demand on the Business of Data platform. They're also living in our YouTube channel as well. So I do encourage you to go and watch these sessions back. We have covered so much this year, from AI to cloud. It's been a really, really fantastic group. Now, we're not quite done and dusted yet here at the Business of Data and Corinium. We do still have a couple podcasts left for you for the year, as well as some reports and other articles that will be published. So make sure you check those out. But for now, we wish you a very happy December and a very happy holiday, however you celebrate. And we hope that you get some nice rest and recovery until we see you in January, ready for another fantastic year. But thank you. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Are you wanting to meet with other senior executives in the data and analytics space? In an environment that is created for connection and inspiration? Then why not join one of our in-person conferences? We have events all over the world, and you can find out the ones closest to you by visiting coriniumintelligence.com/events.